So on my video on pragmatism, there were two comments that I think I got multiple times. One of them was asking, why do you feel like you need to adhere to a philosophical school? To which my answer is, I don't, and that's the point, is pragmatism is kind of an anti-school of philosophy that doesn't require you, try to follow all the tenets, but it does provide guidelines of, oh, these people are trying to do the same thing, so I want to understand it better. But then the other thing that I was getting is, I'm saying pragmatism is about figuring out, does this make useful predictions? And people were saying, okay, but you're losing out on a lot if you're not doing things, you're not learning things that are not immediately useful. And I realized, because I'm using useful in a way that most people would not, when I am asking, is it useful? And at least one person responding got this because they were familiar with pragmatism. The question is, does it make more useful predictions for us than the alternative? It doesn't mean necessarily applied, but it means if we're making predictions based on this model as opposed to different models, can we get better results using this model? And if so, we use this one. And the decisions about what we want to focus on, some of that is going to be, is it useful to me, like immediately applied? But a lot of it is just, is it interesting? And often I'm getting at something that I'll come back to, oh, this is interesting. But I am someone, like, as I've said, I go into so many things that I cannot justify any possible use for it. I'm just curious. And I will talk about Michael Polanyi, because he says basically you can only advance science and knowledge by encouraging people to look into things that are not immediately useful in an applied sense. But I don't think that's contradictory with pragmatism, because pragmatism is basically a way of saying, instead of asking, is this thing true, and then getting into epistemological debates about the meaning of truth, you're just saying, okay, well, can I make a useful prediction from this? And it also gets to someone on the spiral dynamics video, which I think I'm going to make a follow-up to that one, because I think I could have explained some stuff better, was like, well, is it falsifiable in the Popperian sense? And I want to read the Popper book on that, but I grew up learning about science as being falsifiable in the Popperian sense, and I realized the most successful advances we've had in science were before that paradigm took over. And I don't think that really anything is falsifiable in the Popperian sense, and I'll have a video on that too. But basically, I'm just saying quickly, pragmatism, I think, what I'm saying is this useful. I'm asking, does it make better predictions about the world in terms of my understanding of the world than the alternative systems, and about things I care about, which don't have to be like immediate applications? And so that's my understanding of pragmatism. But I realized, like, a lot of people will use pragmatism to describe instrumentalism. And so this is sort of a gentle form of instrumentalism where you're saying, if I can't use this idea immediately, I don't care about it, which again is very much not my approach. But there's also the instrumentalism of like people, groups of people. And you'll see politicians being described, usually it says realist, but you'll see them being described, so they're very pragmatic because they will treat people, they'll treat groups, they'll treat ideas as instrumental. And I think that is an abuse, a misapplication of pragmatism, which, as I said, the way we use it as a common term comes from the philosophy, has a wider use. But even in the wider sense, pragmatism is not the same thing as instrumentalism. And so I wanted to go over that point quickly, that pragmatism, again, I don't think, when I say useful, it doesn't mean immediately useful in an applied sense, but also it definitely doesn't mean, like, is this idea something that I can instrumentalize? And certainly doesn't apply, although no one in the comments that I saw did this, but I see it with the common term. It certainly doesn't apply to, hey, am I going to instrumentalize people, ideas, to sort of win arguments, which I definitely disagree with. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Magpie. This is Leela, and we'll see y'all in the next one.